All right. Welcome to Q&A with Tech Services. I am Olivia Radcliffe, and I am here with the incomparable Dan Yasenchak. Dan, do you want to share who you are and what you do?
I am the Director of Technical Services here at eBeam Services. So my job is really to help new clients see if we can solve their problems by using electron beam.
Any problems?
Any problems, yes, with electron beam. Don't don't give me your issues with other people or anything that we don't solve relationship problems.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Diving into the real questions. Um, can your services be tailored to meet the specific needs of my product, not my relationship issues, my product, such as preserving its texture, integrity, or performance?
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay. Perfect.
If we can go ahead and get the again desired effect, I mean that's always the question is will the material you're using go ahead and respond to the irradiation? A lot of materials don't do a lot with radiation unless they have a an additive to go ahead and help with that reaction. Um, Polyethylene is always our favorite one, and ethylene, copolymers because the ethylene structure is one that is very radiation, I want to say compatible. Get a lot of
Mhm.
cross-linking with it. Um, Part of what we're also seeing then is, some of these other polymers, the polyamide, PBT, a little bit more work in the polyesters. Um, there's still some work in fluoropolymers, but where if you put, a what's so called a coagent or or pro-rad, those are all different terminologies, but something that helps, at a like a 1% level normally or maybe 2%, um, will help with the radiation cross-linking chemistry. So if you have that and we get the positive reaction from the polymer with the radiation, we tailor that dose to what you need. So if you have
Mhm.
very no specific properties you're looking for, um, the beauty of electron beam is it is really consistent. I want to say foot after foot or box after box or whatever kind of those units are, and that is part of what can provide this really consistent product in the end and really again get to the specific need of of what you have, what physical property. Oh, I needed to be here, not too high, not too low. Goldilocks.
Goldilocks.
Mhm.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. So this one, I don't know if they've already reached out to you or not, but they say, what should I expect during the onboarding process and how soon can we start working together?
um Hopefully we're already working with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So certainly what happens at the very beginning of the process is we need to have a conversation, right? A phone call where we are really understanding what your needs are. And again, there's an explanation of, well, what is our technology? We've talked before of, our equipment is, 3-story high electron beam accelerator, gets those electrons to 99% speed light. That's great. Those are big. It's not a bench scale unit. That's meaningful. What that means is we're going to qualify your product on production, scale equipment, which is fantastic for the getting the new product into production.
Hmm.
But to get there, and that's the end, right? That's what we want to do. If we can get the positive results, we want to know that we have a path to what production might look like. Well, we need to have that conversation up front of, well, again, we may start with, the small samples or, even the dog bones or, things that you're made for testing. Great. But if that final form is something that, we can't, treat or, you can't find a solution to because of the uniqueness of it, um, we don't want to have you go down the path of, no end, that it's just going to be a solid roadblock. So it's really that initial part there, that conversation's critical. and then you're going to work with one of our wonderful coordinators, Nate or Chris, and they will ultimately work on onboarding. There's few simple forms to get taken care of, but we'll go ahead and do that initial experiment, see if we are getting the positive results, and go through a qualification process from there. Normally, our initial turnaround time, honestly, most people don't have their samples ready when they give us a call, so we're normally scheduling, maybe a few weeks out. But it's something where, uh, we normally get a very high compliments in the turnaround time that we're able to offer, and flexibility in that regard, because look, it's samples. It's not production. That means, how often your schedule just doesn't work out quite right when you're trying to make something that's new. And it's like, we get it. It happens. And so we want to get that block of time on our schedule, and we'll adjust it as need be. But again, we want the communication, and that's where we'll go from there.
Perfect. Is it kind of the same process regardless of the product? If it's sterilization, cross-linking, drain solution, anything?
It really is. I mean, it's really, you're still going through initial, will this work? First question, and then once you see there's some evidence of, yeah, this can work. It's really finding that what are called the qualification stage. Finding what is the production configuration that's going to work. So you go from this initial trial of, hey, this looks promising, to I have a production unit that I can sell, and I know exactly how I'm going to go ahead and have it treat it with e-beam. So whether it's a medical device where there's a very formal using the AMI ISO 11137, and following those rules, or if it's I want to say a little bit less regulated in the polymer modification world, potentially, you're still going through kind of those phases of qualification. So yeah, it's really very similar.
Okay, perfect. Next question. What is a common misconception about your services or the technology, and clear it up?
Ah, I think one of the common things we have is, you still deal with electron beam can't get through more than, a piece of paper or something like that. And there are electron beams designed to, again, only get through like a film. But the electron beams we work with, go ahead and have, high, well, again, they're going 99% the speed of light. So when we look at like medical devices, we look for those to be packaged at, maybe 6 or 7 pounds per square foot, or less, to go ahead and get a, good dose range. But I say that from well, what's 6 or 7 pounds per square foot? If you have a box that's 1 square foot, I don't kind of care how tall it is. It's, 6 or 7 pounds in that configuration of 1 square foot, and it works. And I always give the example of, we did a foam product that was 48 inches tall. And we could go ahead and process that. We've also processed some pieces that have a titanium in it, and you're dealing with something that's a very single unit profile, but much different. You're talking about fraction of an inch there, for the whole packaging. So that's a thing. There's also a lot of times, I think, in the medical world where uh, there's this conception of, we have to do there's a single cycle and there's the double cycle. And I think that's, a little bit of the EO thought process of, okay, well, what happens if you, go ahead and, again, qualify with EO, you go through something in that realm. In the radiation world, you're dealing with kind of a very consistent application of dose. The catch that you have is you end up within a case have a dose range, and it's particularly apparent with electrons, where minor changes in density can cause a meaningful change in dose. So that's where again, I'd say pretty consistent on our dose we provide to the reference location, but within a case, that's going to be consistent case after case. But within the actual case, you may have spots that are above the sterilization dose, say that may be 20 kilogray. So you may have a consistently minimum dose of 23 kilogray. Well, their max dose may be 50 kilogray. Well, you're going to be in areas where there's you're potentially mid 40s, 45 kilogray sort of dose. So you're having a dose distribution within a single case, and that's a bit complicated to understand. And there's a whole physics aspect that certainly not going to get into, but there's certainly that aspect, and that's part of why you see that. You have electrons knocking off electrons, and you have this dose buildup before it drops off, and it's not a what you would expect to have happen, but that is a reality. And so that's what we normally go ahead and qualify 2-to-1 dose range. It's not quite the same, again, thought process of a single cycle versus a double cycle.
Mm.
But those are two of the common things that I think we often deal with, particularly in the medical world.
Yeah. And also, I hear a lot about totes. Yeah, a lot of people who are converting from like gamma or such, they ask about tote size and such. Can you speak towards that?
Yeah, yes. So certainly in I'm gonna say in the gamma world, you're looking at volume and how do you best pack the totes, which are used by a number of those service providers, um, and trying to be efficient in that, of course. And that's very much again a 3D dimension. In the e-beam world, we're looking more like a 2D dimension. I talked about the foam and it being 8 inches high, or the part with the titanium in it that the box is less than an inch tall. Okay, you have both of those, but what I really care about is the area that it covers on the cart. So we have a cart conveyor system, and that's how we're conveying our product under the beam. And so, it's maybe not surprisingly, it's more cost effective if you have a tall product versus a short product, meaning a low density product versus a high density product for electron beam. Where, like I said, in gamma, you're still wanting to fill those totes up.
Mhm.
That is again, a little bit different dynamic because all 3 dimensions are important. A little bit more straightforward in a way for their pricing compared to ours, because ours is a little bit less predictable when you start thinking of it in that realm versus oh, I don't care about one of my dimensions.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Um, let's see. If I expand my product line, will your services still be a good fit? And how adaptable is your process to new products?
So I'm going to go back with the communication is a really critical part. So if you're going to expand your product line, I hope that means that we could have some say on helping you design the packaging, maybe. So we certainly enjoy the opportunities that we can have of being involved in the front end. So, certainly uh, we're blessed with a number of customers who are growing, their product lines currently. And that is, a lot of times it's, hey, we have this new offering we want to do. Okay, thank you for letting us know, is it already designed, or do we have some input in it? It's certainly with it, again, electron being, you have to be aware of that, weight per area. How is it packaged specifically? How do things shadow each other if they're, packaged on top of each other, or the like? So certainly us being involved, front end can lead to more certainty of success. But if you're going to be using, expanding product lines, meaning using similar materials, similar um, kind of concepts of what we're already doing for you, yes, there isn't a reason we can't be successful. The other part is we have capacity available for you. And again, that's part of where we ask for the communication of, we want to make sure we're staffed appropriately to go ahead and handle, expanding growth for our customers. So that is certainly, both of those things are again, keep hearing the communication message, but we want to talk to you.
So if they are making a change to an existing product, what sort of changes do you want to know about as a provider, and what changes are kind of okay if they don't tell you about?
Well, this should always tell us about changes.
Okay, there you go. Just tell Dan.
Yeah, so that should always be a communication. So again, that's an easy kind of starting spot is, hey, is this change okay? Do I don't think we need to go ahead and requalify it. No, that could be true, may not be true, and I'm not going to try to give too detailed of an answer here. Stay broad of, you know, if we have to redose map it because it's a packaging change or, there's something meaningful from again, think about the densities and, the like material change, you're going to have to do some sort of qualification. No, so yeah, certainly if there's a change, we need to know about it. When it gets to even the material modification side, polymer cross-linking side, um, we've had times where, our clients have, again, a resin's been discontinued by, the big manufacturer, and they said this resin's the same. It'll respond the same. Well, we need to do a qualification test. Let's not run a whole truckload of your cable and then find out, afterward that, yeah, it all needs to be redosed. Or unfortunately, if it's overdosed, we don't have the undose button. So that is certainly we need to know when there's changes occur in kind of any of our customers
Yeah.
products. It's critical.
That's a really good point, though, of like sometimes even if your client specifically is not making the change, if maybe it's a manufacturer kind of further up the line who's making a change to a resin or a colorant or something, that even those changes should get communicated to you.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
Okay. Well, that kind of ties into this next question. In the last question for today, what kind of ongoing support do you offer clients?
As I've said, we like to communicate with you, so give us a call and talk to us. Um, I mean, there's obviously the standard customer service where, we're trying to work with your schedule, and again, depending on what your unique needs are, there's some of our customers are, shipping their product in small quantities frequently. So, it's the UPS or FedEx shipment that we need to go ahead and coordinate, runs on a daily basis or every other day or, things like that, that are, again, those have a specific need versus those who, may have truckload quantities where maybe they need, again, multiple truckloads processed per week, or, do some of those have that's the classic, what happens when there's a disruption in your supply chain. Um,
Mhm.
hey, we're not going to have any trucks for the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to, give you a whole bunch of those, 3 weeks out. We're going to make up for it. Don't worry. Um, again, we're asking for that communication to occur there. As far as support, if there's kind of, as you already, like you said, mentioned, if there's changes to the product, if there's an interest in um, trying to create a new line, um, what does that look like? How can we help you out? We're certainly interested in trying to get you the best production configuration, ultimately the best price in the end, um, and process as much as we can on the beam for you. So we want to have those conversations so we can, again, have you be successful. That obviously helps us be successful, to be fair. So that's what we want to know is, communicate with us on that. And we're again, we have a team, technical services here, that are, kind of set up to go ahead and work with you uh to grow.
Perfect. Okay. Any last minute bits of wisdom you want to sneak in there, Dan?
I don't think so today. I
No,
appreciate the offer.
no wisdom today. Perfect. All right. Well, if you have a question you'd love to have answered via a Q&A with tech services, you can submit it. Send us an email, ebeam@ebeamservices.com, or go ahead and fill out a contact form on the website, ebeamservices.com. And if you are ready to jump in, or you have something, you have another specific question, you want to talk about your specific product with Dan and the other tech services members, then same thing. Go ahead and send an email, ebeam@ebeamservices.com, or fill out the contact form on the website at ebeamservices.com. All right. Thank you, Dan. And
Thank you.
thank you all so much. We'll be back for the next Q&A with Tech Services. Take care.